designated assessor. We're planning to bring that contract to the board first meeting in November, and the person that Tom Scott was able to identify is not planning to charge a retainer or anything to the county. So there's no charge, and I don't think there's a charge even if we have to use them.
Okay. Well, I just had a township meeting. I had some concerns that they thought there might be a fee that they might get charged.
Well, they play like.
So that's good. I'll report that back. Thank you.
Yeah, thank
They
you.
came to the second half and like couple played a
It
couple.
was the game tonight.
Yeah, a couple played a couple snaps. In the
Kathy Sue, we can hear your conversation.
I know, sorry. I got to
Hi, little
mute
guy.
myself. They're not saying anything bad right this second. Don't
Not
swear,
yet.
Brady. Don't swear.
Hi, Brady. Well, it is
I'll ground
7:01.
you and you'll get in trouble.
It is 7:01. So I'll call the meeting to order. Call the October 15th, 2020 Board of Commissioners Annual Apportionment Session to order. Madam Clerk, will you please take the roll?
Commissioner Derek King,
Present.
Commissioner Tommy Miller,
Present.
Commissioner Kathy Sue Vetty,
Here,
Commissioner Rochelle Hatcher,
Present.
Commissioner Jake Smith,
Present.
Commissioner Steve Frisbee,
Present.
Commissioner Gary Tompkins.
Present.
We have quorum.
Okay, after a moment of silence, Commissioner Hatcher, will you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Yes, I will. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag.
flag.
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberties and justice for all.
Thank you.
Amen. Thank you.
I have a motion to approve the October 15th, 2020 Board of Commission Annual Apportionment Session as agenda as presented.
So moved, Vetty.
Support Hatcher.
Vetty and Hatcher, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Vetty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Can I have a motion to approve the minutes of the Board of Commissioners October 1st, 2020 regular session as presented?
So move Tompkins.
Support, Vetty.
Tompkins and Miller. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Vetty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Next item is citizens' time on the agenda. During citizens' time, the board chair shall recognize any person wishing to address the board. A person recognized by the chair shall call in and state his or her name and community of residence. The person may address the board only once on the same matter during each period set aside for citizens' time on the agenda and only on matters that are relevant to county government. The chair shall control the length of time each person shall be allowed to speak, which shall not exceed 3 minutes, and shall not allow negative personal comments. Please mute your TV or computer when calling in, as the background sound will generate feedback. Please note that there's a 30-second delay between the live meeting and the YouTube feed. Would anyone like to address their commissioners? Would anyone like to address their commissioners? Is there anyone that would like to address their commissioners? Anybody in the queue?
No one, sir.
Okay. Wait just a few seconds here. All right, we waited a minute. We'll move along. Next item is elected and appointed county officials' comments. Is there anyone who would like to comment tonight? Anyone? All right. We'll move along. Special order of business is a presentation of the 2020 apportionment report by Matthew Hansen, Equalization Director, and Tom Scott, Deputy Equalization Director, and approval of report and resolution. So we'll turn it over to Matthew and Tom.
Thank you, Chair Frisbee. I'll be speaking this evening. What I'd like to do is just go ahead and read the letter from Director Hansen, which is on the first page of the report. Then go ahead and go through the table of contents, and then finally review page 19 of the report, which is the countywide summary. So the letter on the first page of the report is actually stating that as required by state statute, the Calhoun County Equalization Department has prepared this apportionment report for your review and analysis. By September 30th each year, every taxing jurisdiction that levies a millage in the county is required to submit a tax rate request form to the Calhoun County Clerk. That form, when approved by the Calhoun County Board of Commissioners through the apportionment process, serves as each taxing jurisdiction's authority to levy a property tax in the county. This apportionment report is a compilation of the tax rate request forms. It shows all millage rates levied within Calhoun County by the various taxing jurisdictions, along with the estimated revenue generated by the millage as applied to their respective taxable values. Please note that the taxable valuations contained in the report are based on the ad valorem values that were approved by the Board of Commissioners at its county equalization session held in April, and as such, do not account for any subsequent adjustments made by the July Boards of Review, Michigan Tax Tribunal, or State Tax Commission. Also note that if additional millage is approved in the November election for levy this year for any of the county's taxing jurisdictions, then this County Board of Commissions should consider adopting an amended apportionment of this county. And on that note, Teconcha Township does have a ballot proposal for fire operating. So there is a chance we'll be visiting this again. I'd like to skip to the Calhoun County apportionment report table of contents, just to familiarize everyone with what's actually included in the report. Pages 1 through 11 are just helpful information. It's not a requirement of the report. So pages 1 through 11 is just a complete breakdown of millage rates by taxing jurisdiction. Pages 12 through 16 are total millages levied by a local assessing unit. Page 17 is how to calculate annual property taxes. Page 18 is special assessment taxable values, millage, and revenues. The apportionment report itself, pages 19 through 35. Countywide summary property tax levy estimates, page 19. Calhoun County and authorities, page 20. Townships, page 21. Cities and villages, page 22. Local school districts, page 23 through 28. Immediate school districts, pages 29 through 31. Community colleges, pages 32 through 33. Certification, page 34, and finding the resolution to adopt on page 35. So page 19 is the final area I'd like to cover, which is actually just the year-over-year comparison. The total Calhoun County 2020 levy dollars of $24,971,000 $512.17 is a 5.7% increase over last year. If you look down the annual change column for all authorities, you're going to see that they're mainly in the 2% to 3% range. However, ours is 5.7% for the county this year based on the new parks millage that was passed. That accounts for the additional percentage. Another number that may stand out to you is the total townships. They had a 27.6% increase over last year, and that is due to newly voted millages as well. And most notably would be Emmett Township's newly debt road millage, which is 2.9972 mils, which should add in an additional almost $1.1 million over last year's 311,000 levy. So as you can see there on page 19, it's just a quick breakdown of all the townships, authorities, cities, villages, schools, intermediate school districts, and total community colleges, and just kind of see in comparison where they were last year. And that's all that I wanted to cover today, and open to any questions that anyone may have.
All right, well, let's can I have a motion to approve the 2020 apportionment report and resolution as presented.
So moved, King.
Or Miller.
King and Miller. Is there any questions? All right. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Kathy
Yes.
Sue, you are muted.
Yes.
Okay.
Sorry about that.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Derek,
You're muted too, Derek.
Yes.
Thank you.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. And Tom, I just wanted to add that COVID growth looks pretty good on you.
Thank you, Chair.
We did have a caller come in just after we started the presentation. I'm going to go back and ask them to make their public comment. It appears to be Glenn Kowalski. Glenn, are you there? Glenn, you're muted.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
So I apologize, I was a little bit late. It was a little bit difficult getting into the system, but
We're coming back to catch you.
I just had a brief comment on one of your agenda items for this evening. And it has to do with the Marshall South NIA agenda item. It's a topic that has had quite a bit of dialogue with the county on. Unfortunately, it was very difficult to get information, but I do support, the Marshall NIA within their city limits. But again, I have to at least make my comment that I don't see it as a great investment for the county. I don't understand the confusion about the notice because it was in the paper. The city stated that they had sent that notice. I got word of that from Tarkowitz on April 28th. I think there was a memo in August that stated the same. So I don't understand the confusion there. I brought it up much earlier than that. But at the end of the day, this is something that, we just passed an increase in taxes for parks, and you're proposing to increase taxes now on phones, primarily cell phones these days, to raise money for 911 service. But at the same time, we're giving essentially money away. So the Northeast NIA, which is passed unanimously, that's, best case scenario, that'll be a break even proposition in 2069. So, you won't see any of that new revenue, until 2039. It's going to take another 30 years to break even. The South NIA being better because there's a lot of new development in theory, that's still going to take until 2055 to break even. Best case, that's if everything happens according to the plan that's been outlined. Worst case is the county loses, $2.8 million on the Northeast NIA and a little over $1 million.
1 minute, Glenn.
$1 million on the South NIA. So, right there, that's over actually almost $4 million you potentially could lose in revenue. And best case scenario, you won't break even until 2069. So it's something to consider. It wasn't in the memo. I don't know if you have that information or not, but at the end of the day, it doesn't seem like a good investment for the Calhoun County. Thank you.
Thank you, Glenn. Thank you. I don't think there was anybody else in the queue, right? All right. So we'll move along then to the consent agenda. Actually, go back one. We're going to go to item B. That's the extension of the local emergency declaration. Can I have a motion to approve the extension of the local emergency declaration as submitted?
So moved, Betty.
Miller.
Betty and Miller, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes. Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
I have 7 yes.
Motion carries. We have 2 items on our consent agenda tonight. Can I have a motion to approve the consent agenda of the October 15th, 2020 Board of Commissioners apportionment session as presented?
Still moved, Miller.
Miller?
Support, Betty.
Miller and Betty, is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
I have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Just want to reiterate that I'm not on video tonight because it's not cooperating. So it's not that I'm trying to hide, that my camera for some reason is not working. So we'll move on to any special committee, workshop, or board reports. Is there anyone that wants to provide a report?
If I may, Chair.
Commissioner Tompkins.
Thank you, Chair. First and foremost, the Senior Millage Allocation Committee met on Friday, October 2nd. We approved some supplemental funding requests from the Habitat for Humanity for some additional ramps. We also did a strategic planning follow-up, as well as we approved our 2020 meeting schedule. As far as some of those items that we actually did there. And then also on October
Commissioner Tompkins, you're fading in and out.
14th this week. We also had our County Trail Alliance as well as officers. Am I coming in and out? Are you okay now? How's
Now
that?
you're good. That's better.
Hello?
Yep, you're there.
Are you there? Are
Yep.
you there? Okay,
Yep.
I'm sorry, I apologize. Just to finish that, there were 8 board members that were reappointed, if you will, to the board, as well as the officers were elected. Once again, with Mark Lally being their business, going on Albion. We have an expected demo by either late October, early November. As we know that there's a portion of that acreage that has acreage, and there could be an expectation to be able to plant some native seeds and whatnot at this point in time if we get approval from the DNR. So just a couple of quick items there, and that is my report for this evening. Thank you.
Gary, you broke up quite a bit, so it might be worthwhile just giving us a quick highlight via email.
Okay, that's fine. I can do that. I apologize. Yep, I
No
apologize.
problem. There's gremlins amongst us tonight. Anybody else with a board report?
Chair Frisbee.
Yes.
Hi there, Commissioner Vetti. I wanted to report on the Visitor and Convention Bureau met on Tuesday, and I am board chair for that, and Kelly Scott serves as our treasurer. And we had a change in board members. Brett Myers from the Lila Arboretum has served for 6 years, and so he was turned out and left. And we have Joe Soboreski from BCU is going to fill his position. And then Stacy Flaysaw from the Kellogg Company is going to stay on and finish off an additional 2-year term. So those are the changes that we had. Thank you very much.
Anyone else? All right, we'll move along. We have no unfinished business, so we have new business in the county administrator's report. I'll turn it over to County Administrator Controller Kelly Scott.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. It's been a very busy time for our county leadership who continue to participate in the Joint Emergency Operations Center. Hopefully, if you haven't had a chance to join our briefings that have been increased now to Tuesday and Thursday at 9 a.m., Lucy is doing a great job with posting our press releases and other information on the county's website. So definitely the county is experiencing a continued surge for about 3 weeks now in COVID cases. We're up to 1,871 cases as of today. That is up over more than 500 cases over the past 2 weeks. It's about double since the beginning of September, and it's averaging about 37 cases a day. So it's required the health department to pull back some of their other services so that they can focus all hands on deck to that effort, as well as garner some assistance from the state of Michigan. So we're very busy in that regard. And at the same time, a lot of our other boards and committees throughout the community have started meeting again. So one other one, in addition to what Commissioner Vetti reported on, the Summit Point Board of Directors met on October 6th. Commissioner Vetti is the chair and I'm the treasurer of that board as well. We heard some educational presentations and reviewed our July financial statements. We also approved amendments to the collective bargaining agreement with the one union that they have at Summit Point, and amendments to the retirement savings plan. A couple of other meetings that have not happened since March, the Calhoun County Public Safety Information Alliance Board, we call it the RMS Board. We met on October 9 for the first time since I think it was back in November. This is the board that oversees the law enforcement records management system software that the county and the city of Battle Creek purchased jointly. And then we are now sharing that with Emmett Township, the city of Marshall, and Kellogg Community College. So we set the dues amount, the annual dues for next year. And then we will be recommending, according to the represented members through the interlocal agreement will be recommending our new sheriff, Steve Hinckley, to that board. So he attended, and we'll be moving forward with that. Also, Kim Arshamo, our HR director, and I convened a union leadership roundtable meeting. We also kind of had that on pause. We were meeting about every other month before COVID. We gave the union leadership from our 10 unions updates on the employee benefits renewal for next year, which they were very happy to hear. There will be no increases to employees for any of their insurance benefits for next year. We talked about the budget process and just gave them updates on our COVID response. I'll also mention a couple of other items. Coming up next week on the 21st, we have all-day budget hearings with our Board of Commissioners Budget Committee. So that is scheduled to be all virtual, and we'll see how that works, all day Zoom. Also, our relatively new internal committee to focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion is getting ready to send out an employee survey just to gauge the awareness level and the experiences of our county employees. So that we're hoping to finalize next week, and it will go out to all county employees, I think, which might include the Board of Commissioners. So I just wanted to give you a heads up on that. And that will conclude my report. We do have a pretty lengthy agenda under new business tonight. So we will start with item 12B1. And this is an item that Commissioner Tompkins mentioned that is coming from our Senior Millage Allocation Committee, and that is the recommendation to fund 4 projects from the Senior Strategic Project Fund. This is use of fund balance that has been accumulating over the years from funding sources other than the voter approved senior millage. They are recommending $300,590. Of course, this was supported by the Senior Millage Allocation Committee. Commissioner Tompkins chairs that, and Brad Wilcox, which oversees our purchasing department, took the lead as far as the formal RFP process, and they're implementing a very accountable performance-based contract process. And so all of the contracts have different timelines and milestones and performance requirements, and we've attached those to the agenda item for your review. And with that, we recommend your approval, and be happy to answer questions along with Brad. And I'm not sure if Helen's here tonight, and Gary Tompkins, of course, can help as well if you have questions.
Can I have a motion to approve the senior strategic project funding resulting from the 2020 request for proposals as presented?
So moved, Tompkins.
Support, Smith.
Tompkins and Smith, is there any discussion?
If I may, Chair, just real quick.
Please.
I just want to reiterate certainly what Kelly indicated. Certainly thank Brad Wilcox for his assistance in this process. I was also a member of this the subcommittee as well. And certainly a great thanks to all of those involved in taking what meant to be a pretty extensive amount of time to evaluate, I believe, 13 total proposals. Really a good process, and we'll certainly appreciate not only Helen Guzzo, but certainly again, Brad and all of your efforts. So just wanted to state that. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Petty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
with 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, item 12B2 is the request for your approval of the City of Marshall's South Neighborhood Improvement Authority Development and Tax Increment Financing Plan. So the board previously, under our policy 291 tax sharing, did approve a similar arrangement for the first NIA plan, Marshall Northeast, a couple of years ago. And I attached kind of an overview of what neighborhood improvement authorities are meant to do. It's pretty much the only economic development incentive tool that we have within our state that would be available to developers specifically for residential properties. So probably know we've been talking about there is a big need for residential development housing throughout the county and definitely in Marshall. So this project is proposed to have a housing development on the Alwyn Downs golf course property. The developers are proposing to leave 9 holes of the golf course, well, not intact, but redeveloped so that there continues to be 9 holes. They are planning to renovate and reopen the clubhouse with a public restaurant. They're proposing to add about $33 million in new taxable value to that property, with hopes that they could have their first occupants of the first phase of the housing in place as early as next spring. The Neighborhood Improvement Authority itself, that board was established through a public hearing back in November of 2019. That's when the public hearing happened. And although it may have been published in the paper, according to Public Act 57 of 2018, that statute includes the provision that notice must be given by mail to taxpayers within the proposed district and to the governing body of each taxing jurisdiction levying taxes. That is the notice that we did not receive. I can tell you that KCC also did not receive that. And yes, the city of Marshall acknowledges that they were cognizant of that requirement, and really we can't resolve why that notice didn't happen. And then on January of 2020 is when the city of Marshall met to adopt the ordinance establishing the Northeast Marshall NIA and appointed the board. So at that point, we should have had the opportunity to negotiate the terms of the tax increment financing plan in the proposal that the city is recommending, which is similar to the Northeast NIA district, which is that they would capture 65% of the incremental taxes due to the county, and they would pass through 35% of that. So they're proposing similar terms. Again, we did not have the proper opportunity under the timeline specified in the state law to negotiate those terms. And so the board, the NIA board, approved that plan on February 10 of 2020. Then we had COVID. We did have some correspondence back and forth with the city trying to get updates. Finally, we did attend a meeting in September 2020, and we, I guess was me, with Finance Director John Bartlett, City Manager Tom Tarkowitz, actually went out to Alwyn Downs, met with the developers, looked at the plans, which look really awesome, very encouraging, and the benefits that they would have to the county. And so this project would fund only the publicly owned infrastructure. So tax increment dollars are not allowed to really go to the private development costs, but they are allowed to be spent on things like water, sewer, sidewalks, other public infrastructure. This project, according to the plan, the estimate for those costs is $9.4 million. So the city, the NIA would issue bonds to pay for the upfront financing, and then would begin to capture the taxes on the new development over the next 20 years to pay back those bonds. The county's portion, over the life of the development and the bonds, the county would receive an additional 1.1 million, or about $55,000 per year. That would be our 35% of the pass-through. The NIA would capture about 2.1 million, or 65% of the new taxes, incremental taxes, over 20 years, which is about 105,000 per year. Our board policy 291, which was put in place right after I started as county administrator, basically says that our default stance as a board is that we will opt out. That local authorities such as this are not allowed to automatically assume we'll capture our taxes, but rather we require the board to take affirmative action to approve any tax capture arrangements. And so because this seems like a great project without the capture of the city and the county and KCC, which are really the only entities they're allowed to capture in this case, this project would not go forward because the developers are trying to keep the housing in a marketable price point where the houses, at least in the first phase, are around $200,000. So for that reason, even though we did not get proper notice, and in consultation with our corporation counsel, Jim Dyer, we are still recommending that the board approve. We do think this is a good investment and that it does have a valuable return for the county proper with the new property taxes, and also for the county as a whole as just a really critically needed economic development project.
Okay, can I have a motion to approve the City of Marshall South Neighborhood Improvement Authority Plan as submitted?
So moved, Miller.
Support Betty.
Miller and Vetty, is there any discussion? I think the key is this is for public infrastructure. It would be, like you said, it would make the development likely undoable without the public infrastructure investment. So I'm supportive of it. Anybody else? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
You're muted. Commissioner King?
I don't see him on there now.
We'll come back to him.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Vetty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
wait, one King.
Commissioner King, are you there?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yes, now we can. Did you vote?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
And we have 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Item 12B3 is the proposed extension of our current inmate service contract with Canteen, who we started contracting with in 2017. They're based in Concha, so a local firm. We're requesting a 3-year extension, mainly honestly because it's a bad time during this pandemic to try to go out and bid something as critical as feeding our inmates and also the employees within our correction facility. Brad Wilcox oversaw this negotiation. I'll turn it over to him just to fill in the blanks.
In terms of the negotiation for the extension, we worked with Canteen to freeze pricing through October of next year, which was important since we hadn't had an opportunity to properly budget for any increases. So they were agreeable to hold the prices for that year, and then they also froze year 3. So that combination created a potential savings of $34,260. So on that basis, we're recommending Canteen Services for a 3-year contract estimated at $1.83 million.
All right. Can I have a motion to approve the inmate food service contract extension as submitted?
So moved. Betty.
Support, Miller.
Vetty and Miller. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Vetty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes, please.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
with 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Next is item 12B4. Patrick, if you could promote Christine Parsons to be a panelist. This item is a brand new transportation asset management plan from the road department. This is a requirement stemming from a new legislation in 2018 that required all road agencies that manage a substantial number of miles of road to spell out what the inventory of all of the assets that we own, categorize them as to what condition they're in, and then talk about what the plans are to improve them to acceptable levels. And so This is a wonderful 162-page document for those of you that love the details. It's highly technical, but it has great maps that inventory all of our assets. It talks about, there are complete lists of all of the projects that are upcoming. And I want to say thank you to our road department managing director, John Midgley, our engineering director, Christine Parsons, who's going to give us some highlights. And then within the department, Skylar Cudney, our civil engineer, who did a lot of the legwork to prepare this plan. So it's a really great document that we will try to follow up in the future with some highlights. For tonight, I would just ask Christine to hit the high level summary, because we obviously do not want to go through 162 pages right now. But we are required to get the Board of Commissioners certification that we've accepted this plan. So Christine?
Thank you. So based on Public Act 325, since we own more than 100 certified road miles, we had to develop an asset management plan that we are submitting to the Transportation Asset Management Council. And this includes our road, bridge, culvert, and traffic signal assets. So there's appendices in this report that go into detail on each one of those 4 assets. In addition to identifying them, it also allows us to set goals based on our funding in terms of if we have how much in fair condition, how much in good condition, how much in poor condition, where we are now, and then where we want to be in the future. We are required to redo this plan every 3 years. So obviously it's a living document. It can change if our funding situation changes. But it was really enlightening to see that our goals, while I know everyone would love for them to be, we'd love to see 100% of our roads in good condition. That's not what our goals are, because that's not what our funding allows for. So it really sets realistic goals because they want you to be able to achieve them. So given our funding situation, that's really the limitation. The key limitation here is we want to set goals that we can meet. We want to improve our situation, but we also want to make sure that we don't set something that's completely impossible. Like 100% of good condition for both primary and local roads would not be achievable because we don't have enough money to be able to do that, given the state that our roads are in. And even if they were all in fair condition, we wouldn't have enough money to put them all in good condition over a 3-year period. So what it does is identify what our goals are and helps us work our way towards improvement over time. So just to give you a highlight, we have 1,314.5 miles of roads, 86 bridge structures, nearly 3,000 culverts, and approximately 25 signals. So currently our primary network has 39% of our roads in good condition, 21% in fair condition, and 40% in poor condition, while the county local network has, which this is not accurate as of Emmett Township. We were not able to Pazer-rate roads this year because of COVID, because it requires more than one person being in the vehicle together. So we plan to Pazer-rate next year. So this does not include any of the local roads in Emmett Township or any other local roads that were improved this year. But our county local network as of 2019 has 16% of roads in good condition, 18% in fair, and 66 in poor condition. So we've set goals, as you can read in the report, to try to improve that based on our existing levels of funding and anything that we're projecting. But unfortunately, with both shortfalls due to COVID and increasing construction prices, we really do have very severe limitations in what we can do. Just to give you an example, we submitted the maximum amount that we could for bridge funding this year that would have been awarded in 2023. And what I was told, based on the meeting that we had for the Southwest region, there was $46 million of bridge applications, bridge funding applications submitted just in our region, which is, the 9 or 10 counties in the Southwest region. There was $4.2 million of available funding, and both us and about 5 other counties in Kalamazoo, Cass, Van Buren, Branch, and a couple others didn't get a dime. So while we have extremely urgent bridge needs, we don't have any money to correct those needs. So this asset management plan reflects our current situation and will help us to guide our planning into the future. And then obviously it'll change as our situation changes, as we get more money or more information. So.
All right. Can I have a motion to approve the Public Act 325 certification of transportation asset management plan as submitted?
So moved, Tompkins.
Support Vetty.
Tompkins and Vetty. Is there any discussion?
If I may, Chair, if that's possible.
Please.
Yeah, thank you. First and foremost, I want to certainly extend my thank you to Skylar and Christine and John and everybody who was involved in this work to prepare. Kelly was right. This is very detail oriented and right up my alley in terms of really being able to get to the in the weeds, if you will, in terms of road funding and what we as a county are having to deal with. Just real quickly, is just a reference, the maps that were included on there, is there a possibility that we could get more of a clearer version of those maps? Only because obviously my vision, if you will, relative to what was submitted is a little bit unclear. So if we could do that, I would certainly appreciate it, and I'll follow up with that. Real quick, Christine, definition of what the scour, the SCOUR rating is relative to bridges. What is the definition of the scour?
So when you have piers in the water, if you get what's called erosive velocities, so when your water goes so fast around those piers that it basically pushes the sand out away from the piers and exposes the bases, it could destabilize the bridge by basically pulling the sand away from it. That's what we call scour. So if you were to like put your thumb over the hose and, you know, squirt it at like a hole, it would cut the dirt away from the edges of it, to make it as simple as possible. I'm trying to figure out the best way to explain it, but basically it destabilizes the bridge because depending on how far down those piers go, it could expose all the way to the bottom of them and then cause the bridge to destabilize.
Gotcha.
So
Thank
we
you. I
get all of
appreciate
our
that.
bridges are required to get scour. We do scour profiles to see where the stream bed elevations are, and we do scour ratings as required based on our bridge inspections that Great Lakes Engineering does for us.
All right, thank you. And you know, as I comb through this document, and Christine, you alluded to the fact is, especially on our county locals, have about, obviously not including the Emmett aspect, of about 66% worth of our roads being poor, if you will, in the locals, as well as you indicated the $46 million in applications for bridges and only 4.2 million available. And as you were very correct, there are many bridges that we have certainly within the county that are very, very poor condition, and having to rely on a application process and a hope and a wish, including the fact is that there is no funding for the county local aspect of roads, just really proves that how inadequate Act 51 is, and there really needs to be done something to that in order to improve it so that we get more money, certainly, that we can deal with the roads that we have. So that's just more of a comment. And then if I may too, it was indicated there were some goals that were provided for paved county local roads, and there was a reduction of about 16% or an improvement, if you will, in the roads. Do you have anything is there anything that you've prescribed relative to what does that improvement plan look like in terms of trying to improve those roads? Because obviously I'm going to make the assumption that probably millages through townships are the most logical way, but I know in many cases, as you well know, that's not a logical thing in many of the townships that we have here in Calhoun County. So maybe if you could elaborate a little bit in terms of what the thought process is in terms of what that goal would result in, or how you were to achieve that.
So are you asking me how we plan to improve the roads overall, improve the ratings on our roads?
Well, there indicated there was a goal that was indicated, which the goal was to improve county locals by 16% or reduce the amount of poor roads by 16%.
Okay, I've got you. So that's based on the townships that do contribute. So, you know, we get certain amounts of funding from a limited number of townships per year. So that funding that goes towards improving those roads would improve PASER ratings, and that would account for, over a 3-year period, that hopefully that improvement in local road condition. Obviously,
yep.
if there were more townships that contribute, which, it seems like we're getting, more every year, hopefully,
Mhm.
then, that would improve that number.
Yep. Absolutely.
Incrementally.
And certainly, the with respect to this being put together of this overall asset management plan, which again is really positive. I'm really pleased with what I see. Is there any potential foresight going forward to maybe expand this from a county level in terms of developing our own comprehensive strategic plan that may include not only what you see prescribed has been put on this PA 325, but also as it relates to other aspects within the county, be it tree trimming, et cetera, et cetera. So just as a note, as a possibility, if we could look at maybe expanding that to a more comprehensive process, that would be obviously a great thing and just something that I think would be very positive for the county. So again, thank you, Christine, certainly for your work and certainly for Skylar's and for John's as well. So appreciate all of you guys' work on this. This is a very positive step forward. Thank you.
And just so you know, we do create 5-year plans for each township every year, and they're available to them when when or if they meet with us. We go over them in person or I guess virtually now, or they're available to send to them. And of course, these plans are based on feedback we get from the township. So it's not just what we recommend. It's also based on their wishes as well. So we have those available too. I don't believe they're included here because this is a report that's put together to a certain format provided by TAMC. It's not just something that we created, although, you can create your own if you so choose, but we do have those as well.
Sure. And my only reference point was the fact is more so geared towards the county in terms of its primary roads and et cetera. Having that 5-year long-term plan is something that I know I've been looking at for some time. And like I said, this is a wonderful step in that process. And it's just something that maybe to certainly, if we could move forward with that would be a great thing. And certainly would be certainly an advantage for you folks as well. So again, thank you very much for answering the questions. I apologize for being long-winded, but lots of good information. Thank you very much.
Commissioner Smith.
Thank you, Chair Frisbee. And I want to co-sign all the comments made by Commissioner Tompkins. Public Act 325 was in 2018, if I recall correctly. Do you recall, Christine, do you recall the last time such a plan of this nature was made, or is this the first time we've developed something like this?
This is the first time it's been required. And it's a 3-year cycle. We're actually in the first year of the first time. So it's never been required that we submit something like this. And we are in the very first year. So we've been working on this for over a year, if not longer than that. We've been to multiple trainings in order to be able to put together this plan in exactly the format that we were requested to put it together in. So.
Fantastic. Well, great job. I appreciate all the work that was put into it. Thank you very much.
Anybody else? Just one question, Christine. I think we probably had all this information in different places. This is the first time we've put it together in this format. Am I correct?
Yes. And we definitely have multiple iterations of pieces of this. It's just never been a comprehensive document before, but we definitely have all this information where we can give you PASER ratings, and we provide townships with that at their quarterly meetings, or we have pre-COVID provided them with PASER ratings for their primaries or PASER ratings for their locals, and in addition to their 5-year plans. So we have available to us multiple options for dashboarding, if you will, the condition of what their roads look like now, which is something we usually provide a map to each township at their meeting that says, this is what your roads look like now. And then once we get through construction season, this is what your roads look like after you've done your work, or what they could look like, were you to invest, in the roads that we were suggesting that you invest in.
Yeah. Okay. All righty. And the comment about, maybe we could attach the 5-year plans that you give to the townships. I think that would be valuable information for us as well, that we could quickly reference within our districts, the 4 of us that have county roads in the district. It'd be nice to be able to see those real quick as well. So
sure, we're just in the process of updating those based on all this year's construction work. So we can definitely update those for you over the next few weeks based on all of this year's construction.
And then we know as a commissioner where we're trying to lead folks and at the local level and being on the same page. So I appreciate it. Anybody else? Jake, your hand's still up.
Oh, no, my apologies. I didn't know I had to put it down.
Well, I
Sorry.
didn't want your arm to fall asleep.
Nothing more here.
All right. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
You're muted, Derek.
Yes.
we have 7 yes.
Motion carries.
The next 3 items are bid awards that come from our purchasing office. I'm going to attempt to summarize these just in the interest of time, but I want you to know that Brad Wilcox gets all the credit for taking the lead. I know with our COVID situation over the summer, you're seeing a lot more bids later in the year than usual, and those will continue over the next couple of months. We're trying to do a little bit of catch up. So Brad will be happy to answer any questions. Item 12B5 is RFP 113-20 Organic Additive Award. So this is for pre-wetting the road salt, and we're recommending a 3-year contract with Chloride Solutions. They provide organic materials, and we're the only bidder that we believed met the specifications sent out. I will note they were not, the GeoMelt is their product. It was not the lowest cost, but based on the effectiveness and the lower temperature and the reduction in salt application rates, the road department's team that works on these bids, and we continue to make this a collaborative process, is recommending that we go ahead with this. And it's about $50,000 spend per year. And I know there's some interest in continuing to evaluate both products just to make sure we have the best balance in using organic materials that are best for the environment, creating efficiency, but obviously public safety is first, and also, the best cost for the product.
I have a motion to approve the RFP number 113-20 Organic Additive Award as submitted.
So moved, Fetty.
Support.
Support, Hatcher.
Betty and Miller. Any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
we have 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Item 12B6 is a bid award not related to the road department. This is actually a life cycle needed replacement for the county's enterprise resource plan, ERP. So this is the software that we do our finances and our payroll and HR. Also at the road department, they've been using, I'll call it a proprietary software system for the general ledger and for HR that most road commissions in Michigan use. We are hoping to accomplish 2 goals. First, just to replace our current 10-year-old system with something that is newer. We also are hoping that we can somehow integrate better with the road department to have a little bit more seamless reporting, since the road department is considered part of the county, our governmental funds, and we have to consolidate them into our audit report. We'd also like better HR and payroll reporting capabilities. So we did a competitive request way back in the spring. And again, Brad and our IT department led this process. We had several bids and narrowed it down. We had a small committee internally to work on this. And we're recommending Plant Moran. at an estimated cost that is considerable, could be up to $100,000. This will happen over the next year, and the funding has already been set aside and budgeted within our capital improvement funds. It's been a project that, you know, has been in our long-term planning for several years. So we are recommending to move forward, hopefully by next summer, the summer of 2021, solution in place. So they will help us actually design the bid specs to select a new software vendor and then help us with a successful implementation.
Can I have a motion to approve the enterprise resource planning software selection consultant as submitted?
So moved, Smith.
Support Betty.
Tompkins.
Smith and Betty. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
7 yes.
Motion carries.
Item 12B7 is the bid award that we have before you tonight, RFB number 121J-20. This is a road department bid, also in conjunction with the Jackson County Department of Transportation for mineral aggregate. So this is the basically the transport and drop off of mineral aggregate to any of our county road projects. And so a lot of the cost is really just in the trucking. And since there are different materials, Jackson County and Calhoun County chose to do a line item detail of all of the various different materials and then choose to award contracts with all of the vendors that were able to provide any one or more of those products at the best price. For Calhoun County, we basically are recommending Carbrunners. They bid on almost all of the items with a couple of exceptions. So our primary contract will be with Carbrunners. Jackson County chose to do a much more mix and match process, and they're going to end up with 5 vendors, as stated in the overview document that you have. The estimated total amount is an annual $250,000 spend. So this goes into the remainder of this year's construction season, which is about over, and next year. And all of these contractors are qualified, have been qualified. They're all within Michigan and, you know, pretty local. We've got one from Albion, one from Homer, one from Middleville, one from Kalamazoo, one from Granville. So again, it's much simpler for Calhoun County, but since we're doing our joint purchasing, we've included, you know, all of the contracts, including the ones that Jackson County will have that Calhoun will not. This is a substantial increase, I think, of about 14%, just because that's how the construction industry is going right now. And with that, again, if you have any questions, Brad or I can help answer them.
Can I have a motion to approve the RFB number 121J-20 mineral aggregate bid award as submitted?
So moved, Tompkins.
Support Miller.
Tompkins and Miller. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries.
We have 2 items left. 12B8 is our monthly financial report. So this is through September of 2020. We have 3 months left in our fiscal year. And these were prepared by Megan Banning, our Deputy Controller, and is outlined in the cover memo. If we focus on the general fund, we've been reporting, we're still tracking both revenues and expenditures. When you compare actual to budget, we're down 3% for revenues, 4% for expenditures. The main reason we're having a revenue shortfall is related to COVID. We're about $1 million down in charges for services. 700,000 of that is directly jail bed and public safety revenue shortages. Just a lot fewer days of inmates that were boarding from other counties and in other locations. Court costs are down about another 200,000. Fines and penalties also related to the courts, reduced capacity, down another 150,000. On the expenditure side, we did achieve considerable savings from our furlough and work share programs, utility and other building related costs with just fewer employees physically reporting to work. So put that all together and then add in our additional funding that we're expecting from all of the federal and state COVID funding sources. And we're still projecting to end this fiscal year pretty close to budget, but it really is only because of the stimulus funding and the grants that we're receiving to help offset costs of public safety, mainly public safety in the general fund. We got money for public health, but that primarily is included in the health funds. We're also continuing to note the COVID costs for both the county and the Joint Operations Center that we are cash flowing through the county and then getting reimbursement. So with 3 months left in the fiscal year, we're pretty optimistic. We also have considerable savings that we're tracking from employee health insurance claims, just due to basically the lower level of activity this year, and really the success of our Care Here Health and Wellness Clinic, the addition of our second high deductible plan. We're really seeing our claims cost exceed our budget expectations, which is why, as we reported at the last meeting, we are not going to need to pass on any cost increases to our employees for health insurance next year, which is really unprecedented. So that's all I would highlight. There's also the other special revenue funds, the road department. We also, of course, did a mid-year budget adjustment for the road department that anticipated some pretty drastic, I think 11% cut in MTF funds because of the lower activity on the roads due to the COVID shutdown. Their revenues have actually picked up and started to exceed budget. So a lot of the end of the year for the road department depends on what we see in November, December for winter maintenance.
Okay. Can I have a motion to approve the September 2020 financials as submitted?
Still move Miller.
Support
Smith.
Hatcher.
Miller and Hatcher. Is there any discussion? I just had one comment, and that is the decision to do Care Here a long time ago continues to pay rewards to us. And that was a great vision of Kelly and Kim and a few others to put that in place and manage our cost. And I'm just glad we've done the long-term commitment and still yield results from that. So I appreciate that. Anybody?
Commissioner Frisbee, I'll just mention as a side note, we're doing flu shots right now at the Care Here Clinic for all of you and anyone who getting their flu shot, which is everyone. They're doing an amazing job. I scheduled my appointment online for 8 a.m. Got there at 8 a.m. because I was listening to Eric Pessel on the phone from 7:55 to 8 a.m. I was back in my car by 8:04. I mean, they just it's so efficient. It's free. It's easy.
Yeah.
I agree. It's been a great great benefit that we can offer to our employees.
Yeah. Well, I think you had the vision a long time ago, and it's just carried through, and it just proves that your analysis a long time ago was you and Kim's was very true. So I appreciate it. Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
with 7 yes.
Motion carries.
Last item under new business tonight, 12B9, is the recommendation that you ratify our Teamsters collective bargaining agreement. This is the road department non-supervisory employees, basically the road workers and our mechanics, Their agreement is set to expire at the end of October. We actually started bargaining really, really early. And we've done some in-person bargaining, you know, talking with each other, socially distanced through masks. We had a change in the Teamsters business agent partway through bargaining. So it was quite a challenge. And we ended up toward the end just saying, you know what, we really all want to improve labor relations. We know there are some efficiencies from operations that can happen. Mainly, we've been talking about how we assign equipment and jobs and still value the employee's seniority on a daily basis and on a seasonal basis, and just said, you know what, that's not something we're going to fix before October 31st, given COVID and given the change in union representation. So it was in all of our best interest because the Michigan laws are still in place. They didn't get amended because of COVID. They're still in place that say if you do not create a new agreement before the expiration of the old one, employees are not allowed to get retroactive pay increases, and you have to pass on any health insurance cost increases. Fortunately, we wouldn't have had that this time, but there would be no retroactive pay. So we really wanted to get this done by October 31st. And so again, kudos to Kim Archambault. She's leading this negotiation session along with two other unions. One of them we started today. We've got one more to finish before the end of December. But she does a wonderful job fostering really positive relations with our union leadership. And we do value our union leadership as partners in talking through our financial situations and just, you know, trying to, I think we do a good job at the county valuing employees and communicating with them and being honest with them and supporting them as much as we can. So what we ended up with is pretty simple. And Kim sent out yesterday or today, I don't know, a summary of the changes, but it's very simple. We agreed to talk later about operational improvements, but we only negotiated changes that were the basic economics. So we're recommending a cost of living wage increase of 2.75%. That's the same as their supervisor's contract has already locked in for 2021. And then we added one more thing, which seemed to be an issue with employees. And we saw that this was included in agreements with other county road commissions. And that is a clothing and boot allowance annually of $125 per worker. So because again, we weren't able to fully address things that we think need to be improved, we're recommending just a one-year agreement through October 31st of 2021.
Can I have a motion to approve the Teamsters collective bargaining agreement 11/1/2020 through 10/31/2021 as submitted?
Still moved, Miller.
Smith.
Or Vetty.
Miller and Smith. Is there any discussion? One question, have they voted as a body yet?
They have, actually, they voted unanimously in favor. And so this has been ratified on the union side.
Thank you. All right. Any other discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Hatcher,
Yes.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Vetty,
Yes.
with 7 yes.
Motion carries. Our next item is citizens' time. The same rule applies during the first citizens' time. Please limit your time to 3 minutes and no negative personal comments. Please mute your TV or your computer when calling in, as the background sound will generate feedback. Please note there's an approximately 30-second delay between the live meeting and the YouTube feed. Is there anyone who'd like to address their commissioners? Is there anyone who would like to address their commissioners? Is there anyone who would like to address their commissioners? Nobody in the queue, correct?
Correct, sir.
Thank you.
Who are we listening to?
Not sure. All right, we'll move on. Commissioner's time. Anyone have anything they'd like to share tonight?
If I may, Chair.
Commissioner Tompkins.
Thank you, Chair. As most of you are aware of, certainly with the COVID situation, Calhoun County Senior Services was unable to host our annual centenarian luncheon, in which we have an opportunity to recognize and certainly express our appreciation to our centenarians, certainly in Calhoun County. With that being said, Helen Guzzo and Kate Turner, who in the Senior Services Department, came up with an idea to find a way to be able to extend our appreciation and do something for our centenarians. So they came up with an idea to present a bouquet of flowers as well as a certificate of recognition that was signed by the governor. So within the last week and a half, I had certainly the honor and privilege of presenting certainly a bouquet of flowers and those certificates of recognition to 3 of those centenarians. The first one being Stella Ingram from Homer, who is 101 years old. Certainly, she worked until about the age of 97 in our local school district as a grandmother, won a state award for Grandmother of the Year, etc. What a wonderful smile and wonderful individual that was able to spend some time with. Subsequently, also too, was able to honor Mr. Robert Holt from the city of Albion, 102 years old, and is just as spry as you could imagine. Just a wonderful gentleman to have a few minutes to speak with. And then finally, Shirley Powers from Albion Township, who is 100 years old. And I must tell you that I asked each one of them what their secret was, because each one of these individuals were in incredible shape. It was just a pleasure to meet them. One individual told me specifically that the reason why they are still, their secret was not having any secrets. So just was kind of interesting to get some of that. Yeah, just kind of interesting to get some of that. So again, it was just an honor and privilege. I certainly want to thank Helen and Kate for putting this idea together, and myself being able to participate in that. And we truly have some incredible treasures in Calhoun County. I think we have close to 40 of them collectively. So to be able to present just 3 of them was quite an honor. So just phenomenal people. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Anybody else?
I'm here, Steve.
Go ahead, Commissioner.
I just want to remind everybody that's interested, CCAS, the fair memberships are due on Monday. I think they're $25 a piece. If you want to spend $100, it could be, I can't remember the word of it, named as a sponsor. But they're going to do it on Monday. It gives you voting rights and it'll give you a free week pass to the fair.
Awesome. Thanks for that reminder. Anybody else?
Chair Frisbee.
Yes, Commissioner Betty.
I just wanted to wish Kelly Scott a very happy birthday on Monday. I hope that she gets a calm and fun weekend, because she has been working effort, with so much effort and so many hours, and has done a wonderful job in leadership for us. And I so appreciate that. And I want to wish her a very happy birthday. And I'm sure we all join in on that. We really appreciate Kelly. Thank you.
Happy birthday. Awesome.
Yes, very much happy birthday. Absolutely.
29 all over again. Anybody else? A couple things for me, Gary. I had the same opportunity today to go deliver 3 of those flower arrangements and presentations, and I'm really looking forward to Scene Magazine put together a little questionnaire for each of them or their families to, and you'll see that in the December issue if you get a chance to read that. And they're asking them what their secret was, or what advice would they give them their own young self. So that should be a very interesting article to read, and
absolutely
look forward to seeing that. Second thing is, got a big event coming up in our country here in just a few days, November 3rd. Everybody vote. Hope everybody does participate. Good luck to all those individuals sitting here as we move forward. So we'll see what's that.
All in this area.
Good, Commissioner Hatcher.
Okay. All right. So I thought somebody was joining us from outer space there for me. All right. Anybody else? All right. We have claims payable. Can I have a motion to approve the Calhoun County claims payable for September 25, 2020 through October 8th, 2020 in the amount of $9,416,826.20 as presented.
So moved, Betty.
Betty and Miller. Is there any discussion? Madam Clerk, please take the roll.
Commissioner Smith,
Yes.
Commissioner Frisbee,
Yes.
Commissioner King,
Yes.
Commissioner Miller,
Yes.
Commissioner Tompkins,
Yes.
Commissioner Betty,
Yes.
Commissioner Hatcher.
Yes.
We have 7 yes.
Motion carries. Any announcements tonight? All right. With that, this meeting is adjourned. Good evening.